Okay, guys, we're going to work on our homework for Thursday, more volume. So pause for a second and take a look at number one and try to get your answer. Okay, the key here for number one is we're using cubes again, right? So what they want you to see here is when you're doing the cubes, the answer's got to be in cubic, something cubic, right? So if you look at your choices, this is centimeters, this is measuring length, right? So that can't be the answer. Square means to the second, right? Cube is to the third. So it can't be the square of 256. And centimeters squared, that doesn't. So the only one that makes sense, cubic centimeters, you got to have the word cubic in there. Now I have to admit, number one has me a little perplexed. I'm not sure how they got 256 because when it says 8 cubic centimeters on the bottom and then 4 levels, that has me doing 8 times 4, which would be 32 cubes. And the width would just be 1. So I've got to be honest, I'm not quite sure how they got 256. I'm embarrassed. I don't know. Either this is a wrong question or I am totally missing something. If anybody can explain it to me, send me an email. But the key thing to remember is we're talking about the cubes. So your answer has to be cubes. So that one you really didn't have to necessarily do the work because you could eliminate the choices that don't make sense. I'm learning about my 5th grade math that if you pay attention to the words and know your vocabulary, you can solve a lot of these problems without even actually doing the math. All right, pause and take a second to look at number 2. Okay, measuring the volume, right? Well, if you fill it with water and then weigh it, that doesn't really have anything to do with the volume, right? Now, the water filling it would be volume, but weighing the water is really not going to tell you anything, right? So it can't be A. Trace the face of the prism and then count the number of squares. You could get tricked by that. If you're just counting the face, that's just the one side you can see, right? That doesn't tell us how many might be in it. So it can't be B. And then measure the length and the width and then multiply the 2 halves. That doesn't really make sense. It's more of like an area and then multiplying the multiplying the 2 values. No, that would be area. Exactly. Yeah, area. So that can't be it. I remember whenever we're talking volume and for test purposes, look for this no gaps or overlaps and then counting the number of cubes. That's always going to be the answer for volume. A lot of these other things are measuring length, trying to trick you, or area. So make sure volume, it's got to fill a whole thing, pack it with unit cubes, leaving no gaps. That's volume, right? Okay, take a look at number 3. Once again, 3 is you've got to get for volume, you've got to have this cube, right? So it's got to be in inches. Feet are way too big. Squared centimeters don't take in the whole dimension of the shape, right? The 3D shape that you're filling. And I mean, D just doesn't make any sense at all. So don't let this trick you. You've always got to see that cubed or to the third to try to get you to the answer because a cereal box could be something like this, right? The cereal box. Oh gosh, this is where we're going to mess this all up. Oh, jeez. And it could be something like, what's a good dimensions of a 3 cereal box? It could be like 12 inches by, what will get me to 360 by 10 inches across here would be 112, and then 3 inches wide. So that could give you something for a good volume, right? But just remember, look for that cube thing, right? The cube thing is the key. All right, pause and do number 4. Now, this is good old classic, right? Volume equals length times width times height. So it's 10 inches high, 6 inches long, 4 inches wide. You multiply it, that equals 40. 40 times 6 equals 240. And your answer would be B. And the cube of 240, they're trying to trick you with the whole cube thing we were talking about before. but the cube of 240, if I'm not mistaken, would be 240 to the third power, and that would get really huge, right? So don't let that word trick you when it doesn't make sense. All right, let's move on to number 5. Pause and try to get your answer. Okay, so Annie has covered the bottom of the box with 6 cubes. She left no gaps. The total volume is 36. So that means, or 30. It'll hold 30 cubes. She's already put 6 in. We want to know how many more can she fit in? Your answer would be 24. A lot of words there trying to trick you, but they're just telling you 30 cubes go in there and she already put in 6. How many more can she put in? And they could change some of those words to make this problem different and more difficult. So make sure you pay attention to the words. Okay, pause and do number 6. So they just want to know what is the volume of the prism, and then we'll enter our answer. So we know it's got the 4 layers. I mean, you can easily just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 16 cubes I can see, and it goes back 1, 2, 3 levels. 16 times 3 is 6, 12, 18, carry that 48, right? Or you can do your volume equals length times height times width, which is kind of what I did when I counted this, but here's our length is 4 across here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Our height is going up 1, 2, 3, 4. And our width is 1, 2, 3 going this direction. 4 times 4 is 16, which I had here, times the 3, which I have here. So we know it equals 48. All right, take a second and do number 7. So number 7 is just like number 6. I'm trying to see if they're trying to trick us somehow. Hold on. No. Oh, yeah, boy. Volume equals length times height times width. The length is 1, 2, 3. The width is 1, 2, 3. And the height is 1, 2, 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times this 3 equals 27, which would give you A. All right, number 8 says select the picture that has a volume of 12 cubes. Now, if they give you the pictures, I mean, you could do the math, but I just feel like it's easier to count the cubes. So if I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubes on this side, and then 8 more on this side, that's 16 total. That's not it. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. So that is 4 times 3. That would equal 12. Hold on, let me double check myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Yeah, because, yeah, 12. Okay. So that's probably my answer, but let's just rule out these other ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the other side, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That one was equal 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus the other 8 on the other side would be 16. So you would get B. Pay attention to the words because I know I'm going to say it again. These seem easy now, but they're just waiting to slip in those words that will change the meanings of these. All right, let's look at the last 2. What is the volume of this figure? Pause. People, this is, I don't know if I'm missing something on trying to teach you guys this, but when they want you to do the volume and they give you a shape like this, you're just counting the cubes. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's it. The answer is 12. I'm not really sure how else to explain it. Okay, let's do number 10. Same thing. Just count the cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. I know our homework this week is seeming very easy, right? You can see at the beginning, I had a hard time explaining some of the concepts, right? So take your time, make sure you're getting this because they're going to start to give you crazy shapes. They're going to take pieces out, and then you're really going to have to do math. So this is like building the foundation, right? If you don't get this totally, and then we start making it harder, it's like building your house with no foundation, right? Imagine if you built your house on top of dirt and sand and it got muddy and then all the house would fall down on you, right? So you got to understand this. So please let us know if you have any questions. Enter these answers in Canvas, and we will see you guys tomorrow.